There are a lot of conspiracy theories floating around, but one is the worst and most widespread by far. And this crackpot belief is getting people around the world killed in disturbing numbers. Those who buy into it are blissfully ignorant of the destruction they're enabling. They believe they're so smart and virtuous for believing in this easily debunkable theory. And they pat themselves on the back for being so clever as to get it when so many people are lost in the dark. Is it flat Earth? Reptilian humanoids? Birds aren't real? Nope. The most dangerous and life-threatening conspiracy theory is that a group of demonstrated authoritarians, war criminals, crony corporations, the global organizations this ruling class controls, and their well-armed enforcement class of aggressive, drunk-on-power, badge-wearing pawns are conspiring to serve humanity, despite clear evidence spanning not only decades but also centuries and thousands of years. But these unhinged conspiracy theorists disregard the realities of these criminals' blatant attacks on humanity, justice, freedom, and peace, with their fervent belief that actually they're helping us. This belief is actually based on spurious evidence and disinformation from the lips of politicians and the infotainment propaganda class that parrots their lies. According to this conspiracy theory, these megalomaniacs are apparently doing their humanitarian work in secret, as available evidence demonstrates they could not care less about their subjects and are quite clearly out to empower and enrich themselves at the expense of the people they claim to serve and represent. This wild conspiracy theory hinges on hallucinations like
we, the people, are the government,
despite the fact that there is one class of people that issues edicts under threat of force and another class that's expected to obey to prove their morality and virtue. It indulges a delusional and immoral belief that a tiny minority selected by less than half the population gets to rule over everybody else, even those who don't consent to these rulers, or even worse, don't believe in the institution's authority at all. This imaginary authority includes cultish rituals, funny costumes and badges, and words scribbled on paper and treated as religious texts. Belief in this conspiracy theory, that government authority, which hinges on its monopoly on violence even in a so-called democracy, is a force of good and those who wield it are conspiring to help us, enables staggering injustice, oppression, and violence. It's allowed the internment of Japanese Americans, the nuclear annihilation of hundreds of thousands of civilians, the imprisonment of anti-war activists, slavery and segregation, the poisoning of civilian populations and those who work for the war machine, severe PTSD among those who work for the war machine, killing innocent people abroad for democracy and quote successful missions that actually create terrorists, thousands killed by police who play soldier with their taxpayer-funded weapons of war, poisoned alcohol to help people during the failed alcohol prohibition era, and the enrichment of criminal, murderous, destructive cronies billed to the tax cattle. And this is in a country that at least pretends to support freedom and representation. Elsewhere, monarchs, dictators, and other tyrants, also posturing as stewards and protectors of the people, have inflicted even more staggering suffering, quite often murdering their own people in the name of progress. Experts say those most at risk of falling prey to conspiracy theories have a deep need to feel special, to feel their opinion matters and their voice is unique. This conspiracy theory is no different, as those who believe it like to congratulate themselves for being smart and getting it. They love to mock and look down on those they believe are sheep and slaves to propaganda, as their own blind ideology results in perpetual suffering. Of course, not all conspiracy theories are true, and some can definitely be harmful, but they will never be as harmful or pervasive as the consequences of the belief in and obedience to violent authority. Yet I'm still waiting on the experts to start flagging content spreading this dangerous, life-threatening, harmful disinformation.